Hi, I'm Claire and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review of Granado's Citrus Brasilis. So I was sent this fragrance in PR and I accepted this because it's formulated by Quentin Bisch and I was just intrigued to smell this. So if you do want to hear about how Citrus Brasilis smells and what you can compare it to, then please keep watching. So I've been trying this fragrance out over about a month now and I've really learned a lot more about the Granado brand as a result of that. So Granado are actually a Brazilian brand and they started as a pharmacy in the 1800s. So they go back all the way to the 1870s, I think. And Granado are really big in Brazil. And actually in the UK, I feel like they've become much more famous over the last few years because they've been stocked in Liberties. And Liberties have this habit of putting travel sizes of Granado fragrances in their beauty boxes and in their advent calendars. And I think that's really helping their brand to become better known in the UK at least. But I think really even across the US, I've seen lots of people talking about Granado fragrances. So I really do think that they are becoming a bigger brand outside of Brazil in general. So Granado as a brand, I think, are synonymous with good value fragrances, really strong fragrances, long-lasting fragrances. And they're also very famous for working with really big names in perfumery. So they have collaborations with Cecile Zarokian, with Ralph Schweiger, with Alex Lee, perfumers that I really appreciate. And this time they've collaborated with Quentin Bisch. So I do have some prior experience of the Granado brand. I did used to own a fragrance called Jardin, which is a really strong soapy white floral fragrance. In the end, it wasn't for me, but it was incredibly strong, incredibly long lasting, and it did have things about it that I really enjoyed. I did like the white floral aspect of that fragrance. I did like the citrus aspect of that fragrance. So I was really intrigued to see how I got on with Citrus Brasilis. So the fragrance itself comes in this sleeved box. You remove the sleeve, green box, and then opening the box is a really nicely presented bottle of fragrance. These are really heavy glass bottles, significantly heavy lid. Really, a nice, simple, very kind of unisex looking presentation. So Citrus Brasilis, according to the brand, is meant to represent and celebrate the joy of citrus notes. And there's a little bit of a story around this one. So the brand's owner back in the 1800s would grow citrus plants to make medicines for the pharmacy. So he would make bitter orange syrups, aromatic orange water and lemon spritzes to, for people to take as tonics. So this fragrance was launched earlier in 2025 and Granado have 5 other releases this year. So they're really being very prolific. I haven't tried any of their other new releases this year. So what did I think of Citrus Brasilis? So Citrus Brasilis is just a really lovely soft citrus to begin with. And it's a soft citrus with a bit of a floral aspect to it. Very distinctively in the beginning, you smell kumquat in this fragrance. And I have never actually tasted a kumquat in real life, but I have one other fragrance in my collection with a kumquat note. And I distinctively smell it in this fragrance. Kumquat, if you haven't smelt it, is sort of something almost like a very, very soft version of an orange crossed with a lemon. It's a difficult thing to describe, but it's definitely got a kind of more watery, soft, almost creamy feel to it. It's not a sharp citrus at all, and it's not really distinctively orange or lemon. It's sort of in between and slightly sappy feeling almost, I guess. So yeah, kumquat, very distinctive at the beginning, along with a floral feel to this as well. The floral here is jasmine, and it really lends the fragrance a little bit of a solar feel. Really, overall, this fragrance in the beginning is a soft citrus floral. Despite violet leaf and also mint being listed for this fragrance, I don't really smell anything distinctively green or herbal here. There is a slightly green aspect to this in a kind of fresh leafy way, but I wouldn't say it's distinctively minty or herbal in any way. The dry down of this is actually relatively similar to how it opens. I would say really it's the orange that pops slightly more in the dry down than the kumquat. But it's still quite prominent, the kumquat, even in the dry down. And the floral aspect is softened. It's definitely more solar in the beginning than it is in the end. And it becomes warmer. It's almost like it's slightly ambery. And there's definitely a musky aspect to this. But it's, again, not a very powdery musk. It's not an overtly creamy musk. It's just got a slight muskiness to it in the dry down. It's warmer and less fresh, but it's still a citrus floral overall. I think Citrus Brasilis is such a nicely balanced fragrance. It's not one thing nor the other. It's not too floral, it's not too citrusy. It's just a really nice in-between kind of balance. And I really wish I'd had this one earlier in the summer. I wish I'd had this one to take on holiday with me. I really feel like this is a perfect spring-summer fragrance, but I also think this would work in the early autumn as well. I think with this fragrance, I get about 6 hours out of it before it begins to fade. And I'm quite impressed with that from a citrus fragrance kind of point of view. I don't detect anything obnoxious to me in this fragrance. So things like ambroxan sometimes can really put me off fragrances, or related compounds. It's not always ambroxan, is it? But we just call it ambroxan as kind of an umbrella term of things we don't like in fragrances sometimes. But I think for me, I don't detect that. And I'm surprised because Quentin Bisch is kind of notorious for using those kind of aroma chemicals in quite large quantities. If you think about something such as Valleya, for example, I did try to see whether it was available from, different websites, but I could only see it listed on the Liberty website. And actually it was out of stock. So clearly this has been popular. So this fragrance I think is relatively good value. When you think about the price of designer fragrances nowadays, this is quite competitively priced. So for 75ml, this retails for £125, which still is on the slightly pricier side. But I think for the quality of this fragrance, I think that's a decent price for this kind of fragrance. And I think, this has really restored my faith in Granado as a brand. Having tried Jardin Real and not got along with it, I was kind of turned off from Granado fragrances. But actually trying this one, I've been much more impressed, and I'd be much more willing to go and try other fragrances from Granado. It's made me intrigued to try more. So yeah, really like this one. Definitely staying in my collection. Can I compare this fragrance to other things in my collection? Well, yes, I can. So the fragrance that this immediately made me think of was Hermès Le Jardin de Monsieur. So you can see that I've used quite a lot of this fragrance. It's a fragrance that I really like. And they do share some notes. So I'm going to put up a little bit of comparison on the screen and show you the notes that they do share. So they have 3 notes in common. They share jasmine, kumquat and mint. And there is a definite similarity. I did immediately think of Hermès Le Jardin de Monsieur as soon as I smelt Citrus Brasilis. But actually, trying them side by side, one on each arm, I began to appreciate some nuances and some differences in these fragrances. So Citrus Brasilis leans more towards orange with the kumquat, and I would say that the Hermès fragrance leans more to lemon and also to a green kind of sappiness and a mintiness. There's very much more mint in Hermès Le Jardin de Monsieur than there is in Citrus Brasilis. I don't really detect the mint at all in Citrus Brasilis, or it's just a kind of background kind of green smell rather than being actually minty. The Hermès fragrance feels greener, it feels sappier, it feels wetter as a fragrance. The Granado fragrance, Citrus Brasilis, feels more solar and brighter, and just warmer and muskier in the dry down as well. Out of the two, Citrus Brasilis also lasts longer than the Hermès fragrance, and it's something that I think has a little bit more punch about it. But that's not to say that the Le Jardin de Monsieur fragrance is not a long-lasting fragrance, because I think for the profile of that scent, it does last a decent amount of time on me. Can you have both? Well, clearly I have both. I think that I see enough difference to keep both. I don't think if I were trying this in a shop and I had Le Jardin de Monsieur, I would feel the need to purchase Citrus Brasilis. But I do like having Citrus Brasilis because I know that I'm going to finish Le Jardin de Monsieur, and I want that type of fragrance in my collection. And I feel like Citrus Brasilis fills that gap. So yeah, I'm really pleased to have this one. I've been really enjoying it. I've worn it quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really happy to, when you take on PR, you never know what you're saying yes to, and I'm so pleased that I love this one. So yeah, Citrus Brasilis by Granado. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then please do press the like button, and please also consider subscribing if you haven't done already. And please let me know, have you tried any fragrances from Granado? Which ones are your favourites? Which ones should I try next? Have you tried Citrus Brasilis? What do you think? And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.